Hi, everybody. It's Bill Gilliland here with this week's Action Coach Business Profile, and we're here with Tom Muncy, and he does a number of things, and I'm going to let him tell you what those are. But welcome, Tom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm great. So tell us a little bit about your history and where you got to now.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
I moved here in '69. I grew up in northeastern North Carolina, farm country. We raised hogs and peanuts and corn and cotton and sold our peanuts to Planters Peanuts in Suffolk, Virginia. But I married into a family up here. Met the lady at Chapel Hill when I was in school. I was drafted and sent to Vietnam and spent 3 years in the service. And when I got out in '69, I moved to Asheville. Right. And the town's never been the same since, according to what people tell me.
Yeah.
Anyhow, in '69, at that time, I knew Harry Clark, who owned Western Carolina Industries. And I had sent him a letter and a resume, and he got me an interview at the old St. Joseph's Hospital. So I went to work in '69 and did hospital HR. In those days, it was called personnel. Today, it's called human relations. But anyway, I did hospital HR for 15 years and thoroughly enjoyed it. But as you can imagine, when you work intensively with employees, you get to a level where you feel like you're kind of brown around the edges. And I was restless. And I worked 5 years at St. Joseph's, 3 years at Highland Hospital, a wild 29 months in the courthouse for Buncombe County. The commissioners had expanded from 3 commissioners to 5 commissioners. And it went from 2-to-1 Republican to 3-to-2 Democrats. Right. So I tell the story. I went in on a 3-to-2 vote, and 29 months later, I went out on a 3-to-2 vote. But I took the politics out of hiring in the courthouse. I'm very proud of that. And I guess you'd say the reason why they wanted me was to take the politics out of the hiring. So from department head level on up, anyone who was hired for the skills they had, not how many votes they could bring in. Right. And it was a fun experience. It was stressing, but fired on Monday night. I served at the pleasure of the board. Didn't have to have any reason to terminate me. But anyway, I stepped on one too many toes. But anyway, I got fired on Monday night. Tuesday morning, only time I've ever been in the headlines of the Citizen Times. County personnel director fired. And Tuesday afternoon, Tom's Rehab Hospital called and said, "Don't go anywhere till you come down here and talk to us." Wednesday, I interviewed with them. Thursday, they asked me back and made an offer. Friday, I accepted. The following Monday, I went to work at Tom's Rehab. Nice. Landed on my feet. Yeah. Made that commissioner very angry that he changed and voted against me. But that's life. I had a wonderful 5 years at Tom's Rehab. It's now Community Care Partners, and I understand they've been bought by Mission Hospital. But it's a wonderful place. They do miracles down there. They were working with paralyzed people, back injuries, and things like that. A caring place. A lot of good things that happen. But 15 years, and you get tired of that. And the last year I worked at Tom's, I was a volunteer. I was a loaned executive for United Way. And we went out and pitched for United Way. Sure. After being in Asheville JCs for about 10 or 12 years, I had public speaking skills. No problem me standing up in front of people and talk to them. I loved raising money. And so eventually, I met my current wife, Libby. I met her in '81. We got married in '82. No, '84. Took me 2.5 years to get the house ready for occupancy. But anyway, from there, I went into sales. From sales, in 2001, I became a business broker. And that's primarily what I have been doing in the past, is helping people buy and sell businesses locally. I also have a commercial real estate license because when buildings or property go with the business, I have to have that license to get that commission. 4 years ago, so I've been dealing with small business owners since 2001. 4 years ago, when '08 hit and a little bit after that, all the business owners I went to kept saying, I need money to grow and I can't get any money out of my bank. So because I work with private equity groups, some investors, but just people that have money, I am now a second-tier lender behind the banks. I always tell the business owner, go to your bank first. If they'll help you, that's good because you already have that relationship. But if they say, no, you're not credit worthy, come to me and let's see if we can't find you some money. My goal is to help create jobs. If I can help fund small businesses and help them grow, they'll go out and hire people.
Absolutely.
And that helps the economy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the federal government should like that because they'll pay taxes.
Well, that's right. Small business is really the backbone of the
Absolutely.
economy.
Western North Carolina.
And the country, but certainly in Western North
It's
Carolina.
just phenomenal what's happening up here. I mean, look at the beer industry, the brew pubs, and think about all those jobs. And now AB Tech has a program sponsoring it.
So tell us how it works. I mean, so how does somebody, if they're looking for this second tier money, how does they've been to their bank, the bank is saying, maybe, but maybe we need to get a few things in order. What happens? Okay.
First of all, you have to have a business plan. And everybody thinks business plans are horrible things to do. It's not really hard. And the templates are out there. We have these wonderful, I guess you'd say, resources. My favorite is the Small Business Technical Development Center out at the Inca campus.
Sure.
They have a free template. Fill in the blank. You tell us who, what, where, when, why, and how. How are you going to do it? And I coach them on it. And with a business plan, I have resources locally. There's a very large credit union in this area that I have a very strong relationship with. They like to fund minority businesses, minority-owned businesses, and they also like to take challenges to a certain extent. They still have to live within the parameters required by the federal government. But there's money out there. And then there's my Mountain BizWorks, which helps very small independent startups. And as they grow, then sometimes they'll come to me because they've run out of the money that they had from Mountain BizWorks. Right. But basically, this community is just exploding with activity. It's very exciting, and I want to help. And that's what I do.
Yeah.
And then I charge.
So give us a success story or two.
Well, the fun one I'm doing right now, my client, is a guy named Curtis Powers, and he owns a company called Happy Tap. And what he does, he's the only guy in Western North Carolina who cleans beer taps. And guess what his business is doing? Wow!
Yeah.
Just growing like mad. So he's a fun guy to work with. He found me on LinkedIn. I usually find my prospects on LinkedIn.
Right.
But he found me, and we really hit it off. He moved here from Wisconsin. He grew up with beer manufacturers up there, the big boys. Yeah. And, of course, they were getting into the small brew pubs and that kind of thing. But he was taught up there how to clean taps. And where it makes a difference, you don't want flat beer and you don't want off-tasting beer. So you need to clean your taps. And he does them every other week. Wow. So, and his business is just growing like mad. And I'm helping him every step of the way. We just we go by the business plan that he had written and the funding that he has, and he takes it a step at a time. But he's already franchised a guy down in Winston-Salem. Charlotte's interested in him. Wilmington's begging him to come down there. Athens, Georgia would like to have him. So they're places who are hearing about his business. But that's what I like to do, is bring people together, find money to help their needs, and they go out and blossom. And when they blossom, everybody wins. Jobs, and just all kinds of good things happen. Brilliant. And I just kind of fell into it. And it's an offshoot from the business brokerage. And I am a certified business intermediary. I am in our field what a CPA is in the accounting field. Sure. I had to take the programs, take a very grueling 4-hour test exam, and I have to go to continuing education every year to keep up with my skills I can do valuations of businesses as well as help to sell them. And in a way, it kind of weaves in. If I can help them grow, if I can help the company mature, and once they get up the road where they want to be with their company, at some point they'll want to exit the business. And here I am.
There you go.
So it dovetails in.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the golden rule. If you help others, it'll come back to you.
Excellent. So,
What was it Zig Ziglar that said, if you take care of other people's needs, your needs will be met?
yeah, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I enjoy it.
Excellent.
It's somewhat stressing in the sense that you can grow too fast, and you have to be real careful about it. And my motto is to all of my clients, one day at a time, one project at a time. So you got to map out where you're going.
Sure. Excellent. So if a business owner's looking for any of your services, how do they get a hold of Tom Muncy?
They can find me on LinkedIn. Oddly enough, I don't have a website for a specific reason that websites tend to get attacked and so forth. I'm of the old school. I like to deal person to person with people. I like to look them in the eye. Yeah, and I can be contacted by telephone, 828-280-7334, and it's just called Working Capital Brokerage. I work out of my house.
Working Capital Brokerage.
But you can find me primarily through LinkedIn.
Yeah. So get on LinkedIn, check out Tom's site. I'm sure he'd love to connect with you. And then as you have a need for funding in your business or brokerage services, then have a chat with Tom and he'll get you fixed up. So
I will add, one of the fun things I do, I'm very heavily involved in entrepreneurship. And about 8 years ago, I started doing classes in the entrepreneur programs at the community colleges as well as at Western Carolina and other colleges.
Sure.
I do a class on start a business from the ground up or buy a business. What are the pros and cons?
Sure.
No right or wrong answers, just lots of good dialogue. And my basic message to the students is, if you haven't invented the best thing, the next best thing since sliced bread, go work for a Fortune 500 company or a large corporation that's growing, and they will teach you the skills to run a business. When you get to the point where you say, I can run this business better than they're doing, that's when you go out and control your destiny and you go buy a small business.
Sure.
And there are lots of small businesses for sale out there. I know, I deal with them day in and day out.
Brilliant. So find Tom on LinkedIn and connect with him. And I really appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
It's been
my pleasure.
Yeah, it's been good.
Now is it my turn to interview you?